You've probably already heard pieces of the rant. Um, it is just being further reinforced. Like I happened to pop into an X space this morning. Um, Very well respected community. Not going to name the network here. It's not one of the big guys. It's kind of, I would say, like the tier two, but solid tech, great backers, building in a lot of different verticals, um, great like commercial kind of trad blank adoption, right? So like doing a lot of the right things, I'd argue, in blockchain, but not the most vibrant chain. Um, and they're like everyone else, super interested in AI, but like everyone else, they think the world of AI and machine learning like begins and ends with language models, and that's just what's been driving me bananas lately. ChatGPT is great. Like, don't get me wrong. The advent of these language models and the agents that people are building with them are good. They will bring good things to the world, and they are allowing people to build cool stuff. I won't kind of go down the rant rabbit hole to say why 99% of the people that are building those cool stuff on top of those language models are going to be out of business in like a year or two. I already ranted about that. But it, language models are just one way of understanding the world around us. And in a very particular way, it's kind of a dog shit lens to look at the world through. Whenever you convert the physical world to words, you lose massive amounts of information, right? We see this in our everyday lives. You experience something great and then you want to go tell your partner, your friend, your whomever about it, and like, I don't know if you guys are like me, but I'm a sarcastic asshole, and so like my usual response is like, and then you found $20, right? Like it's just never as interesting. You can't convey the world just through words. People make a whole career out of trying, and the people that are excellent about it, they create amazing books and movies and followings on this shitty platform called X. But if we really want to get down to the science, and we think about the amount of resources and the technological capability that goes into these language models, words and sentences are just not the beginning and the end of the world. And when you look out into where capital is flowing, where you look at where people are building, it's like we've forgotten that there's an entire field of data science beyond just language modeling. And that all might sound really theoretical, but in our world, in blockchain, this matters. This matters a lot, because if words struggle to capture moments in our lives, they struggle even more to capture what's going on chain. It's exceedingly difficult to take the totality of a transaction and turn it into sentences. But that's what you have to do if you want to use a language model to understand what's happening on chain. And oh, by the way, you've got chains out there like Solana that are trying to do 60,000 of those every second. So you got to create 60,000 very poorly constructed sentences every single second of every minute of every day. And you have to do that forever if you want a language model to truly understand the behaviors and the activity that's going on chain. So, why on earth is that the only tool that our industry wants to pick up and try to solve these problems with? It doesn't make sense. Again, that's kind of like an oxymoron because we're in crypto. Like a lot of shit doesn't make sense. But on a serious note, like if you really step back and think about it, there will be, if they're not already today, there will be massive costs that we pay collectively as an industry for our overutilization of language models to solve these problems. And you know, Deep 3 is kind of the antidote to that in a way. You know, we dabble, right? We mess with the language models here and there. We use them when the purpose is right. You know, we have a hammer, and when we see the language model as a nail, we use it. But everyone else is banging at screws with that same damn hammer, and it doesn't make sense. The beginnings of AI, right? The watershed moments of AI were not actually language models. The AI nerds out there know what I'm talking about when I mention AlphaGo, right? And the AI model that beat the best Go player on planet Earth. That wasn't a language model. The same team that has now made arguably one of the greatest breakthroughs in science that AI has contributed, that predicts protein folding, like that's going to create medicines, it's going to solve diseases, like that's going to create real impactful change, not a language model. But again, like all we do is we focus on language models here in this industry. And if we can get past that, we can unlock such incredible capabilities. The same kind of abundance that language models have created, we can do that in crypto. And it can make every single contract and every single dApp immediately intelligent. We can get past these like circa 1998 user experiences that the industry provides to users and then begs mainstream regular folks to come and try crypto. You know, fight with our wallets, learn 24 seed phrases, get hacked 15 times because our user experience is so great. It's not yet. And this is one of the reasons it's not. We are putting way too much energy into force fitting language models to fit our domain here when there is a perfect solution sitting out there. Blocks and transactions, they form sequences just like sentences. Tokens and wallets, they're words. So we can use the same underlying research and generate that same abundance of capability, but we have to actually train on the chain. We have to use the data that is inside the blockchain. The same thing that we have been screaming about from the top of our lungs for 2 years. That is the direction that we need to go in. People can still keep messing with their language models, but we need to peel off a considerable portion of that energy and those resources, and we need to point it at the right tools for the job. We need to start treating the blockchain like protein structures and go moves, not like words and sentences all the time. And if you think this is all like crazy, you know, theory, no application, that is just patently false. Some of the very first advancements in the world of language modeling, the same kind of AI models that today are still behind Google search, apply perfectly to blockchain. Because again, you know, blocks and transactions form sequences just like sentences. Words are just like tokens and wallets. We have all of the right building blocks to start creating that same kind of really powerful, really multi-purpose intelligence. It just depends on moving past the language model as being the beginning, the middle, and the end of artificial intelligence.